This introduction is about the ego. That which is referred to as ego, according to the Indian systems of philosophies, is the ahankara. Ahankara reflects through such terms like I, me, mine, etc. First of all, let us try to understand what is meant by ahankara or the ego. According to our systems of philosophies, ahankara is made up of an aggregate or a combination of two tattvas or principles known as one, the jada or the inert matter, and two, the chetana or the consciousness. Chetana abides in jada, that is, consciousness is hidden in matter. Our body, which is made up of various material elements, is likened to a castle by the scriptures. It is the abode of our conscious Atman or the soul. This castle of the Atman has three parts. They are three different bodies, one inside the other. These three are: first, the physical body; second, the astral body; and the third, the causal body. All these three bodies are jada or material only. Of these three, the first one, that is the physical, is the main gateway for approaching the conscious Atman or the soul. If we have to reach out the Atman, or more precisely the individual soul or the Jivatman in us, we have to enter through this physical body. Now, let us peep into the structure of this physical body. Every physical body is made up of five material elements, made up of Akasha or ether, Vayu or air, Agni or fire, Apa or water, and Prithvi or earth. Every physical body has these five elements. But the most important thing about this physical body is it is born of past actions. This is a very important aspect of the Hindu philosophy. The physical body, just I referred to, is known as the Sthula Sharira, which means gross body. The Sthula Sharira has two parts. The grosser external part is known as Annamaya Kosha, which can be translated as the food sheath or the physic, or that is built by our food intake. And the other part of the gross or the physical body is known as the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the vital sheath or an invisible aspect of the physic built up by the prana or the vital energy. These two, that is the Annamaya and Pranamaya Koshas, together offer the gross services required for our soul or the Jivatman within us. But all said and done, this physical body or this Sthula Sharira does not have its own strength to serve the soul hidden within it. That strength comes from another body which exists again within our physical body. This subtle body beneath our physical body is known as the Sukshma Sharira or the astral body. Unlike our external body, our Sukshma Sharira does not have any flesh and bones, any nerves, veins, or arteries in it. This subtle body is made up of some extremely subtle vapor-like elements. It does not have any limbs as such, but it pervades or permeates the whole of our physical body. Just as a conductor, by its energy and prompting, this subtle body manipulates all actions of the physical body. But in such a prompting, two types of energies, one knowledge and two action, are subtly blend together. By such a blending of these two forms of energies, namely knowledge and action, a force known as life arises. It is only because of this life within us, our physical body remains alive and is able to perform all its functions. As in the case of the physical body, our astral body or Sukshma Sharira has two parts. One, the Manomaya Kosha or the mind sheath. Two, the Vijnanamaya Kosha or the intellectual sheath. Of these two, the Manomaya Kosha is the part that predominates action. The Vijnanamaya Kosha part predominates knowledge. But again, the wonder is this life force does not animate the astral body. Then what gives life to the astral body? There is yet another body within that pervades and gives life to it. And this body is referred to as the Karana Sharira or the causal body. This Karana Sharira is also known as Linga Sharira or Avyakta Sharira. This causal body is much subtler than the astral body or the Sukshma Sharira. Although it is the Karana Sharira that gives energy to the Sukshma Sharira, but its own vitality comes from another source. And that source is the Anandamaya Kosha or the bliss sheath. Anandamaya Kosha is like a mass of light, but it is again inert, without an iota of its own faculty to generate the life force. That makes one thing very clear, that these three parts of the castle, that is the Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Shariras, the physical, the subtle and the causal bodies are completely inert as compared to the conscious Jivatman or the soul. That is why when a living and moving person dies and suddenly his or her body becomes actionless and lifeless, we commonly say that the Jiva or the Jivatman has moved out or given up the body. This also proves that it is only by the association of the conscious Jivatman or the soul that the aggregate of the five sheaths, namely the Annamaya, the Pranamaya, the Manomaya, the Vijnanamaya, and the Anandamaya koshas appears to be conscious. It is because of the contact of the conscious soul or the Jivatman that energy in the form of knowledge or jnana arises from a subtle aspect known as Chitta Sattva or the pure mind stuff of the Anandamaya Kosha. Chitta is the knowledge predominating part of the Anandamaya Kosha. It has also an action predominating part known as Ahankara or the ego. It is this Ahankara that is responsible for bringing out both the knowledge and action energies and spreading them out of the Anandamaya Kosha in the form of Sukshma Prana or subtle vital force. This Sukshma Prana, when it enters the astral body or the Sukshma Sharira, with a jerk or push, it becomes active. Sukshma Sharira becomes active by this life force. That in turn makes the physical body alive and active. Ahankara or the ego thus enters into our system from the very beginning of our life. But it gets more and more personified when it gains better hold on the personality as the individual grows. That aspect of ego or ahankara is an altogether different study.